All right. Well, welcome to FC Football's 14th edition of the Heart of the Coach. My name is Brian McKenzie. I have this privilege to serve with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes as Director of Football in the Midwest region and beyond. And today, our guest on the Heart of the Coach is my good friend Jason Washington. He's a safeties coach now for the Mississippi State University. Thank you so much, Jason, for being on the call today.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here. Appreciate y'all being on, fellas.
Well, Jason, we were just talking a little bit about before they got on there, just offline, in a sense about how your family was doing and your kids and Lacey, your wife. And so what's some of the things you've enjoyed doing as a family during this time of quarantine?
I was just sitting there thinking about that. Matter of fact, yesterday. And first, please forgive me. I got kicked out of the house. My daughter's sitting over here doing some schoolwork, and my son is as well. And so I didn't want to distract them. So if y'all hear birds or cars flying, going by, please forgive me. But anyway, you're like, I understand that. But we've done I think an unbelievable job of reconnecting with us as a family. I want to prioritize a little bit more time with them. Of course, as you know, during this time we were in hotels, in high schools, and that type of stuff. And so having an opportunity to do that has been big. So I'll tell you this, we've gone on more family walks, movies, of course, during the week, 2 times a week. I become a coach, and so I'll coach them in PE activities outside. I'm sorry, a bird's going crazy. Can y'all hear that bird?
Yeah.
Hold on. Here, let me move inside. They're going to have to deal with it. So anyway, and so I've had to, we've done more stuff in that manner, and it's been fantastic just having the opportunity to do that with them, and just with different activities, PE activities, and becoming a teacher in math and doing a bunch of games. And so, we always talk about, I kind of put in my mind at the time during that, I said, hey, how can I figure out how to be, a hero for them? And so we'll play games with our son and daughter. And so one night I'll be with my son and be my son and me versus my wife and daughter. And then the other night we'll switch it up and I'll be with the daughter. And so it's been cool because, of course, there's always a winner and a loser, unfortunately. But it's been fun because they've had a good time doing stuff. We were playing, they're throwing a bag into a bucket the other day. And so, there's a bunch of competition going on. And it turned out to be a good situation, good deal. So that's some of the different activities that we're doing right now.
That's great. Well, so good you reconnected with them during this time. And speaking about games, talking about the game of football, what's the greatest, or at least one of the greatest football games you've been part of, and why was it so great?
Let's see. I'll probably say that I'll say there's 2 that's probably been in my career that, come to my mind first. One is when we played back in 2015 when I was at the University of Houston with Tom Herman against Louisville. It was our second game of the season. And we got there, of course, in January, and those guys went through a vigorous, off season. And you could tell there's times mentally some of those guys were like, gosh, all this stuff better pay off. And make a long story short, we go into the game. And, of course, Louisville was known for having a good program. And the University of Houston at the time has been up and down. And so we're going back and forth. And make a long story short, we block a field goal to win 34-31. And just to see the excitement and the guys just going around after the game hugging and so rooting each other on. And you could just see the turn saying, hey, all this stuff that we did was really worth it. And that propelled us for, the rest of our season to go on and, of course, win in the Peach Bowl against Florida State. So that was one moment that I'll never forget. That was pretty cool. And then probably the second one was in 2018 when we were at Texas when we played OU. And this is more of a kind of a personal one. And probably one of the greatest football games is, we go up big. OU has Kyler Murray, probably one of the best quarterbacks I've ever been around or seen. And he's all of a sudden starts running up and down the field, and we can't stop him. And it's like, oh, good Lord. And thank goodness the time just ran out. We kick a late field goal, we win. And it was just neat just seeing just with the guys, with the belief, in the Bible, it talks about Mark 9:23, which is one of my favorite Bible verses. All things are possible for those who believe. And so, I talked to those guys of, hey, we kept that belief. We came in here and believed that we could win. And we went through some trials and tribulations, and things kind of worked out. But also on a personal level, I'll never forget that game because that was the last game that my dad was able to see. He passed away that following week, and so that will always, be a game that I'll never forget because he called me after the game and said, "Hey, I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of just all the hard work that y'all, went through, and y'all are reaping the benefits out of, the hard work." And I'll never forget that conversation that we had after that game. So those two games are probably the greatest ones that I remember, Brian.
Yeah, those are some good ones, definitely. Well, Jason, how does your relationship with Jesus practically impact your players? Of course, you hadn't made it quite to MSU yet. You had your transition still from Texas to Mississippi State. But in your coaching career, how do you want your relationship with Jesus to practically impact your players in your room?
Right. I always believe, I believe in 1 John 2:6 or 2:6 says like, I want to be an example of Jesus. I always go into, I approach each day like that. That, hey, what am I doing to be an example of them? And some of the things that I think about is just, number one is just my energy and my passion for enjoyment, my passion for life, my passion for coaching, my passion to love these guys the best I possibly can. In that is I want to make sure that I'm spending quality time with those guys. And time is we're going to talk about football for a long time, but I want to get to know you as a person. Want to get to know your family as who they are, how you were raised, and what you went through. And I think that's a big thing as well that Jesus talks about. Whoever says that he lives in God must live like Jesus lived. And so with my energy and spirit, like I said, and just understanding just all the little things that what Jesus has done, and hopefully they can see that come through me as I approach and go into the office and talk with them each and every day.
Yeah, I love it, Jason. Yeah, Jesus was passionate. He was definitely full of zeal and excitement for life, excitement for the message that he had. And he also cared about people. And you see that all the way through the Gospels. And I love that approach, Jason, because when they know about how much you care, then they'll care how much you know, and opens up the door for be able to talk to him about the relationship with Christ. I love that, brother. I appreciate that. Yes, sir. Jason, you've been in the game for a little while, been coaching. So can you name two or so of the most influential coaches you've worked with and why they were so influential on you?
Yeah, probably the first one. I got two that come off my head, and of course, there's a lot more that have been big influences on my life, and in positive ways, and have been honest with me. But the two that come to my mind, the first one's David Bailiff. He was, of course, recruited me out of high school. Played for him at Texas State, and then he went on and became the head coach at Texas State when I was graduating from there, and that's where I got my first job. And Coach Bailiff taught me so much with how to carry myself as a man, and how to prioritize myself with my family, and not to get things, things ahead of each other. So not putting football ahead of family and that type of stuff, having a good balance, but also taught me how to handle tough times, how to relate better with individuals and people, and that type of stuff. And I can't thank him enough for, giving me an opportunity And then the next guy that I had a time to work with was Leslie Frazier, who's now the defense coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. I had an opportunity first. Les and I had a chance to meet each other because I recruited his son to Rice University. And from there, we just built a relationship and started talking besides the recruiting part about his belief and how to carry himself on an everyday stage at the highest stage in football, somewhere that I, hopefully aspire to be one of these days. And so it really taught me how to change my teaching. He's a man of the word and how to relate with a lot of these individuals. He's got guys that he has to teach from all walks of life that make millions of dollars. And he's trying to collectively bring all these guys together for one common goal. And so he taught me that, and I can't thank him enough. So those two individuals are two that come to my mind right now.
Two good ones, and I know both of them, and I would amen both of those guys for sure. Well, hey, Jason, why do you coach? What's your why?
My why, unfortunately, in the coaching business, we're especially in the college and high school, everywhere. I mean, we're judged off of wins and losses, and it's my why is to take young men where they don't think they can take themselves, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And I think the biggest thing, and I guess I get my most gratification off of seeing young men that graduate, and then them call you and tell you, "Hey, thank you. Thank you for what you did. I know I was a knucklehead early, and you stayed after me because you cared. And now I'm doing this. I have a job. I bought this. I've got a great wife. I named my kids after you. Hey, I'm coming back to the game to come and see you." That's just seeing the gratification of a young man coming in early at whatever age, 14 if we're in high school, or 17, 18 when you're in college, and seeing those young men graduate and come back and tell you thank you. That's probably the biggest thing that I get.
Well, I love that. One of the original definitions of a coach is a covered carriage that takes important people to where they want to go. Coach, right? And that's still a good definition for a coach, and that's exactly what you said there. It's great. Well, Jason, as a college coach, I mean, your schedule can sometimes be crazy. It's a little different right now, but when you're in season especially, I mean, lots of time invested into your profession. So during that time, what do you do to practically foster your relationship with the Lord?
Mm-hmm. I think there's two things, and this is probably the biggest one. And I probably, I don't know, Brian, I may have told you this, or it may have been Kevin Washington or somebody that I was talking to. So when I was coaching at the University of Texas last year, my wife and family, we live in a place called New Braunfels. So New Braunfels from Austin is probably about a 45-minute drive if you leave at the right time. If you don't, it could take an hour and 30 minutes. So anyway, that being said, one thing that I did that fostered my relationship with the Lord with a busy schedule, I turned my car into a classroom. Okay. And so what I meant by that is, I was, mindlessly driving up to work, listening to music, or listening to sports talk radio and getting upset with what they say, or, just having an opinion about stuff. And I'll never forget, there's a guy named Newy Scruggs, who's a good buddy of mine. That's a sports newscaster in Dallas. And I overheard him. He reads a bunch of books. And so we were in a big conversation about stuff. And that was one thing that we talked about. He goes, "What you need to do is turn your classroom into your car into a classroom." And I was like, I never thought about that. And then I started thinking, I'm like, the Lord has given us a cell phone and great apps and a variety of different things. And so from there, our church has a app. And so I'll listen to different sermons from different individuals. And all that did was it allowed me, when I made it into work, start my day off right. Start by listen to the Lord, listen to different lessons, different things that I've learned from those guys talking, preaching, and found myself.
Hey, Jason, you're frozen, brother.
And on the way up, I've come back and said, hey, I can organize my schedule and find a time to work out. I can organize my schedule and find a time to eat lunch. And so why can't I organize a time to figure out when I want to sit down and spend 15, 20, 30 minutes? So I put that into my schedule, either when it's early, was on my schedule, and this is what I'm doing. I'm spending this certain amount of time. So those two things have been very, very beneficial for me, and hopefully that information helps, especially the turning your car into a classroom. That's really, really helped.
I love it. And you shared some of those sermons you were listening to with me. Hey, Brian, I was listening to this on the way to work today. You'd send me the link, and I appreciate that encouraging me.
Right.
For the Lord, brother. That's great. Well, hey, you've been coaching college football for 16 years now, Jason, and you're now beginning your 6th stop in 16 years.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. What are some of the things you've done to help the transition be smooth for Lacey and now the 2 children? What are some of those things in your different stops you've learned to help that transition to be smooth for you and your family?
Yeah. Guys, first, it's as y'all know, it's never easy. Just picking up and leaving, growing a relationship with individuals on the staff or players. And so that's been a tough thing is with starting off with my children is just them getting the understanding of, hey, Dad, we're picking up and we're going somewhere else. And wait a minute, we're going to have to start a new relationship with a bunch of these players because they're like brothers to me. And so one thing that I've done, and I can't tell you enough how much I thank the players that I've been around, the Sam Ellingers and some of those other guys that of recent, they call and check in, hey, how's Jackson, how's Jayla doing, and vice versa. I'll call them and say, hey, and that transition there has been great from there to the new players now that, we've added on to our family. And so they feel and know, hey, I can pick up the phone and text or call, or they may call Jalen Green, a bunch of those guys that we were able to coach. So that relationship, I think, has helped. The other thing with children, right now we're in a little bit different or difficult time where my family, I'm living apart from them right now. And so with the kids, what I have done now, I showed both of them how to be able to text me or send messages to me on their iPads. All right. Great thing about technology. And it's been great. Our daughter's 6, and boy, she wears me out. But it's a good thing because I sit there and think that, hey, she's thinking about me. She'll send little messages. Dad, just thinking about you. Hope you're having a good day. And those little things have really helped with them. And then, of course, with my wife, we all know is communication. Communication is huge. And I know it's always hard for me. It's hard for all of us kind of to speak our mind or speak what's on our heart or what we're thinking and that type of stuff. But the better communication that we have, the better it is for, of course, my wife and the rest of our family. So we're not sure yet on kind of how everything's going to work out, but we got a plan in place. And I had to do it for about a year and a half of living apart from them. We had to be organized and make sure we had a plan for the kids. And if I wasn't able to make it back to some of their sporting events, I was sending a message to them, hey, good luck, thinking about you, play hard, do your best. And then, of course, afterwards, she was sending me messages or, hey, Jackson did this. And so I just take notes and I'll hit on all those, acting like, hey, I was at the game. So those are some of the things, Brian, right there that was help out that transition.
Yeah. Right. That's great. And you've got a great wife. I know Lacey's just tremendous, and that helps as well. But you've been intentional. And I think for all of us who coach, it's important that we be intentional, whatever the transition looks like from one school to another, from different coaching staffs to another. Is so important to be intentional. I appreciate that, brother.
Absolutely.
Hey, you had a
Yeah.
privilege to work with and develop a lot of great DBs in your coaching career. What would you say are some of the key foundational principles in developing DBs to reach their full potential?
Uh-huh. Number one is belief. And like I said, I always use that Bible verse, Mark 9:23, all things are possible with those who believe. And I say, and I got to tell them, hey, I believe in you. We're going to work hard in everything we do. And if you believe in yourself and you believe in the teachings, the sky's the limit for you. And if we can have that connection or that understanding, I think that's the foundation to now building on their confidence in what they do. And then after that, it's what's the easiest way to relay a message to allow these guys to have success. And when early in my career, I tried to, just everything. I was just so technical, so wordy with stuff. And I'll never forget just talking with, we would do evaluations of our coaches. And so whenever we had a coaching retreat, we would have to get up and talk to our other coaches and teach them like they are freshmen. And so it was great. And so my self-evaluation came back and said, hey, you're a little bit too wordy in what you do. Just be clear and concise with your teachings. And so that eliminating stuff and making some of my teachings a lot easier and quicker from your feet, your hand, your eyes, all that stuff was huge. And so, I always talk about you got to win with your feet. Your feet and your eyes are your two biggest things for our DBs. If your feet die, you're going to get beat. You like to use this saying that you see the ball thrown, you're going to see it get caught. And so those are two things that we'll talk about. And then the last thing, and we were doing a Zoom meeting, matter of fact, with the safeties yesterday, is football knowledge. So I'll say the quicker that I can perfect your technique and doing it over and over and over again, now we can get into football knowledge and understanding the whole aspect of the game and make you smarter where we can play faster. If we're able to do those two things, good things are going to happen for you. And that's what a lot of those guys have taken it and run with it.
That's good. Good feet won't get you beat, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Well, hey, I got a question for you. So, hey, this fall, we're trusting we're going to be playing football. October 17th, you're going to walk into Alabama, play Alabama. You're going to be up 5, 3 seconds left. They had the ball on your 15-yard line. What are you doing on the back end on the defense? What do you want to do with those guys?
Absolutely.
Come in 15. This one play.
Yeah.
You're up.
Yeah.
You got to win the game for the team, buddy.
Yeah, I got it. Hopefully they're in a 3-by-1 situation. And so we're going to bring edge pressure, okay? And in the back end, we're going to play a man-free concept, try to get the ball out of his hands as quick as we possibly can by football knowledge, Brian, and understanding the film. That middle of the field safety is going to know which way to lean. We're going to find where Jalen Waddle is located or the single width receiver and lean that way and hopefully get a PBU or an interception to win the ball game.
All right, that sounds good. Hopefully you see that happen.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, guys, we got a few more minutes here. I want to open up for questions. Anybody have a question for Jason, just unmute yourself and fire away. Anybody got a question for Jason?
I know somebody's got something. I know I didn't.
Hey, Jason Ray Riesland, been a longtime coach, both head coach and assistant. A lot of people on the line with Brian have been assistants. I'm fortunate now to maybe work with some of the guys that I coached collegiately. So I come in and mentor, and work on the staff. So now I'm the young guy. But you've been with a lot of head coaches. What are some things that you could share in terms of an assistant? What can we do? Having been on both sides of it, what can we do as assistants to really help our head coaches maximize their ability or help maximize their programs. You're an excellent assistant. Obviously, maybe you'll be a head coach sometime, but what can we do as assistants to help the programs that we're coming into?
Awesome. First, I appreciate your service. I know, appreciate the years that you have spent mentoring and tutoring these kids and moving to the next level. So I appreciate that, Coach. And to answer your question, I think number one, just being around those guys, and the thing that you hear a lot of these coaches preach is loyalty. I'm real big off of that and trying to keep a staff together as long as we possibly can, because you know how it works is if there's togetherness, there's loyalty with the head coach and everybody being on the same page. The next thing I was going to talk about was alignment of being on the same page. I think that will take your program to new heights and bring coaches together. Some of the best teams that we've had weren't just from the players. I mean, we were thick as thieves as a coaching staff. And I know we're not going to always agree on everything, but we knew that as soon as we left that office and went out to that field, we were all on the same page. We're all aligned. We're all loyal to each other. We're going to work hard to reach this common goal. And so I thought our head coaches did a heck of a job of getting that message preached to us, saying, hey, we're only going to move as far as we can, but we got to be the leaders. We got to be the ones that are going to be together off of that. And then I think the next thing, social media is a platform for us. And as much as, especially in the college game, and especially during this time now, these kids feed off of social media. And as much as we can put out information about how the head coach has done, what he's about with kids, not just football-wise, but, hey, these guys were underneath this guy's program, and now look at what they're doing, where they're coming back and giving back to this university. Those things, I think, are always huge, and it helps that program and it helps you as assistant coach move in the right direction.
That's great. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
We have another question. Anybody else got another question for Jason?
I do.
Go ahead, Coach Graham.
Hey, Jason.
Thank you.
I know when you're at Houston, I see how together, you were. We're all using that family motto at Houston and Texas also. What are some, and then what you think are some of the best things you all have done as a staff or even as a DB coach with your DBs to promote unity? We first team guy, second team guy, everybody wants to be on the field. You're going to get those kind of dynamics all the time. I know you know what I'm talking about. Give us an idea or two of some success story where something you all have done as a strategy, being intentional as a staff, has really helped your unity on the team.
Absolutely. First, I thought, of course, I'm going to give you two situations. First one, inside the program, there was two things that I thought was really, really good. One was in the off season, where we did whenever we're going through off season drills and everyday, life, we separated those guys into teams. And it was, a quarterback maybe with a DB, a receiver, vice versa, a bunch of different positions. And so we had team captains, of course, the majority of the older guys. And so we ran them on a point total. So it was everything from community service, football drill stuff, winning different competitions, academics, everything known to man. And so there was of course, addition or subtraction depending on how well you did. And that really brought a bunch of guys and individuals together as a family, because now you're working with a bunch of people that guys that you don't spend as much time with. And each coach was designated with a different team. And so we got to meet with them, and this is the plan this week. And I mean, it was awesome. And we started that in the 2018 season and went 10-4 there. And now we're doing the exact same thing over at Mississippi State. So I thought that was good. And then outside of football is getting them away and getting them to spend time. And I'll tell you this, I did one thing last year, Coach Graham, and it turned out to be a huge success, was not just bringing all of them together. We had our different events that we would do. We went out to the lake one time, and I rented a boat, and we had all that stuff, and that was fantastic. Take them to play games, but then came back and said, "Hey, I'm going to do a little bit of one-on-one with these guys outside of football." So I would take one of the corners out to eat. We'll go to Chick-fil-A or whatever it is on his time. And that's where we really got to having some real conversations, some real talk. And I got to know more about them, in the middle of the season than I ever knew. And I thought together that brought unity, because they were able to open up and tell me some things. And that brought us more tighter as a family, because I was able to relay the message to them of, hey, this is what we're trying to do. And then I got one more. The last one was we did this where it was, gosh, I'm trying to remember what we called it. It was a situation in practice where the threes became the ones. And so those guys became the ones, and hey, you're starting, and this is what's going on, and we got to rely on you. And it was awesome. So seeing some of the first team guys now, and if you're not supporting them, hey, this is what's going on, this and that, and it was fantastic. So that really brought some guys together, where it was, and guys were coaching other guys, hey, this is what you got to do, and and it really helped. It really helped there. So hopefully those examples helped you a little bit, and I appreciate the question.
Great. Well, guys, we need to wrap up our call here. Jason, thanks so much for being our guest today in the Heart of the Coach. Really appreciate your heart. Love your brother. So thankful for you. And thanks for investing in the coaches on this call. And I want to remind all the coaches on the call, we got another call this Friday. Dean Hood, who's the new head coach at Murray State University, is going to be our guest. Next Monday, we'll have Zach Hansen, who's the O-line coach at Tulsa. And then next Wednesday, we're going to have Jed Stugart, who's the head coach at Lindenwood University, next Wednesday. So we got more coming. Hope you get on them. Again, Jason, thanks so much for being on here with us today.
Guys, appreciate y'all. And if there's anything I can do, don't hesitate to reach out. Brian has my cell phone. I can give it to you. I'll tell it to you real quick, and shoot me a text message, anything you need. My cell phone number is 512-318 7399, and of course my Twitter's on there. So yeah, shoot me a message, anything, if pray, anything like that. Brian, I appreciate you, appreciate everything what you're doing for all of us, and we gotten to know each other. I had an opportunity to speak at a bunch of clinics with Brian, and he's made my transition in life and as a coach really going to the next level. So I can't thank him enough, and the people that he's been able to put in my life. So anything I can do, don't hesitate to give me a shot or reach out or anything like that. And I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, Jason. You guys have a great day. Give him heaven.
Sir, appreciate it.